Shalom, Akim. I'm going to give all praises and glory to Yahweh, Bashem, Yahushai, Bashem, Rakah, Kadash. Double honors to the elders and apostles of GMS who teach in Royal, and salutation to all the Akim, all four corners of earth, who's pushing the troops of sincerity. Shalom, Akim. I want to get into this topic. Yesterday was that day, Christmas Day, and, throughout the week, in the last few weeks at these jobs, you got to play along. Like everything's jolly, everything's okay, hunky dory. Just play the role, go along with the people, because they're asleep anyways. So you just gotta play the sleep game with them, so to speak. And because everybody, has to celebrate whatever they're celebrating. You have to get in with the herd. That's the way these people think. That herd control. So yeah, I played the role. You played the role, but at the end of the day. Few people were coming to me saying, like, man, this is different. This is something's off. Like, this isn't the Christmas that I remember from back in the day. This isn't this and that. It seems like the closer and closer we get to Esau rolling out, his tell out be all, the holidays are getting worse and worse. I'll tell you one holiday though, and even in this holiday was still cut off. That Halloween holiday was cut off because ICE was running around here. If ICE wouldn't have been running around here, them jokers would have been out, till the wee hours of the morning doing what they do. But because ICE, and Trump sent ICE here and to these different cities in America, the holidays are looking very gloomy. It's their what city? A city just canceled. One city I can't remember just canceled its New Year's parade and stuff and fireworks shows and stuff like that because of ICE. So yeah, this. The spirit is leaving this place, man. The spirit of happiness. It's going to be a spirit of nothing but dark and gloominess very soon, man. It says Christmas is not the same. Reflects a common feeling that the holiday has changed due to personal loss, loved ones gone. Why did they leave? Because of that C-hip, jobs being lost, factories being closed down. There's numerous of reasons why people are not happy right now. You got other people who are getting deported left and right. I did a video about a few weeks ago when ICE was in my section of town, and a person who was a family, they were working hard and everything, and the mom just got taken out of nowhere, and she was gone for 2 weeks. She had one of these top-notch jobs at one of these Fortune 500 companies, and the CEO of the company, they're trying to file charges against the government. But these are just some of the things that are going on, man. But at the end of the day, you got this people who still want to cling on to the happiness and that lie for that one day that it brings. This time of the year is a spell put upon the people, man. This is Jeremiah 10:1. Hear ye the word which the Lord speaketh unto you, O house of Israel. This saith the Lord: learn not the way of the heathen, and be not dismayed at the signs of heaven. For the heathen are dismayed at them. For the customs of the people are vain. For one cutteth a tree out of the forest, the work of the hands of the workman with his axe, man. So the Lord is against, these customs, these vain customs, man. And also he spoke against you Israelites of going into the way of customs of these people, man. Yes, we have to work with them. Yes, we have to sometimes, serve these people where there are jobs you work at. But to follow their customs is where we cut it off at, man. Coming into this truth, it's all about a separation, man. The Lord separates us from the rest, man. And gives us great understanding through these scriptures, man. So yeah, when we learn about the tree cutting and how the decorating of the tree and how all that stuff is not highly taken upon the Lord, man. The Lord does not like that stuff, man. You're worshiping something else. You're going into these heathens' customs, man. Those are strikes against you, man. And at the end of the day, you're campaigning and cheering on something that's done with. It's over with, man. It's the only reason it's really being upheld is because of the rulers of this place. And that's another thing too, because usually, especially when I was growing up, you had. Like I say, Halloween was the beginning of the spell. You had peanuts, Halloween, peanuts, Thanksgiving, peanuts, Christmas. And the point of making was you had cartoons on. They were bringing that spirit. You had commercials that bringing that spirit. You had different horror shows and different movie shows that are bringing the spirit, man. So this Christmas spirit is gone, man. You know. Let me bring this out. This is yeah. Hold on. Let me slip this in. This is Psalm 2:1. Why do the heathen rage and the people imagine a vain thing? You know, because once again, your leaders sold you these things, these different images, man, of the Santa Claus being all happy and jolly, coming down your chimney. Michael Jackson and Jackson 5 made that song, Mama's Kissing on Santa Claus, you know, so that was infidelity right there. Now that, you're giving your power, and now we come to the single family households where Mama goes most of the Christmas presents and Mama's Santa Claus, but you give credit to Santa instead of to your mama, you know, who really went out and broke her back to get these gifts for you, you know. But yeah, our people, they imagine a vain thing. They love these vain things, man. You know, they love anything that settles their flesh. You know, and that's just in a nutshell our people. They're all about their flesh, and that's another thing that this Christmas and holidays bring, man. You know, you get these regular 2/3. They get to please their flesh. You know, putting on different outfits, going to buy the same thing, or being covetous over the next man what he got, and you want to go out and try to get it, or try to destroy his shit just so you can be the only one with it. You know, all these type of different thoughts come upon, you know, Jake's head around these times, man. Especially the Christmas spirit, man. You know, who got the most gifts? Who got the bigger gifts? You know, I was a kid. We went through all these things like that. It was just a kid that got on who's on YouTube, and he was crying. He got a PS5 and some shirts or something and pants. And all together, his gifts came like 7 gifts, and he was upset about that. He was broke down crying about that, man. You know, but just letting you know, these people, man, you know, they're all over the place, man. This is Matthew 15 and 14. Let them alone. They be blind leaders of the blind, and if the blind lead the blind, both shall fall into the ditch, man. And once again, our leaders, you know what I'm saying, when you go to these churches, you know, you're at these different jobs, you're at these different events, you know, they want you to just fall in line with the spirit that they're under, you know. And if you don't fall in line, then you're you know, you're ridiculed, you know, you might not move up in position or something that might happen. You know, it's all sorts of barriers that are just put in front of your way if you don't get down with the way that the herd system moves, man. You know, so yes, these are blind leaders. And once again, I always ask the people, man. You know, when we were in bondage, what was Christmas doing? Even though it was beaten to us, because that was part of our punishment to learn the ways of the heathen, you know, and to get down with their ways, you know. But still, you know, you got to think about the days of past, man. Think about why these things are here, man. You know, don't fall into that spell, man, because it's easy to fall into that spell that America has upon you, man. You know, we have 2 things that goes on right now. You know, you got people, they all of a sudden get happy around this time, and also as well, the criminals are out heavy. You know, the criminals, they don't have anything. They're gonna cash in on your gifts. You know, that's the name of the game, man. They're cashing in on your gifts. Because you're so happy, you're so merry, you're caught up in this holiday spirit that you don't even see what's going on, man. And at the end of the day, it's a cycle, man, because a lot of the malls, a lot of these stores, they're getting ready to close down. They're going to be over with. So who's going to be the one to keep them open, keeping these doors open? Jake, you Negroes, because you Negroes are the number 1 consumers in America anyways, you know, for anything and everything, man, you know. He says, Proverbs 22:7, the rich rule over the poor, and the borrower is servant to the lender, man. So yeah, man, these rich, you know what they're doing, man. They play these commercials, they play these different things to get Jake to flood to these stores and these malls and stuff, and buy out the malls and stuff, and help keep their stores open, man. You know, there's numerous stories of how Jake kept this American system going, man. You know, with our dollars. You know, because Esau would try to be racist on one hand And in the other hand, the other company needed us, so we went and dealt with the other company. You know, whether it was a Cadillac, you know, and all these different. I can name a few other companies, Fortune 500 companies that were out that were going down if Negroes didn't jump aboard and jump on it. But yeah, this whole Christmas was not the same thing. You know, I've been hearing this from my few jobs that I work, and I've been hearing the same cry. You know, and so I said, let me jump on a video about this and speak about this because yes, this spirit is gone. You know, you can tell. And once again, they're they're going by whatever the government, their leaders say, man. You know, their leaders are ruling them right now, man. You see, right now there's no more Christmas movies and stuff like that to keep them dumb, fine, docile, downed out. You know, so what do you put them on, man? Put them on these different Epstein files and different things just to keep their minds going, man. You know, but not really thinking about what's really happening. But yeah, with that being said, I was edifying. Shalom, Akim.